Hello, Premium Queen. How are you doing today? Awesome or awesome? I believe you're doing amazing as always. Thank you for being with me on this journey. Have you subscribed to my channel yet? Have you liked the video? Have you shared? Please do any of that right now and let's spread the good news that you can thrive and not just exist. So in the previous video, I've been taking us on the journey of my entrepreneurial journey, as it were, bearing it all in a way that it would encourage someone, to keep pushing and to keep going and knowing that your dreams are very valid and that when you don't have a backup, you sit up. So here we are. If you haven't seen any of the other videos, please check the playlist, My Entrepreneurial Journey, and catch up on it and, be with us here. So welcome back. And if you're new, thank you for joining me today. So post-COVID and all the anxiety attacks that I talked in the previous video going on, everything that was happening, life, everything. I had to make the decision. Do I quit? Do I keep going? What next, really? What next? And even though, like I said in the previous video also, that giving up is an option, but it's not an option that I understand. It's not an option that I take or I choose to take. There are days, every day, it's like, what the heck? What am I doing? What is this about? I wish I could stop. I wish I could give up. But then the dream to put a product in a million hands is still very valid and is such a driving force till date. How big can this thing go and how big can this thing grow? Even though there's been a bit of other dreams, right? The dream to put the product in a million hands is driven by financial stability, to take care of my family so that we can live the dream life that I believe that we deserve. I believe in dreaming. I believe in the power of dreaming. I believe in the power of the mind, that if you can dream it and act on it, you can manifest it. So as much as I'm a Christian, I believe in faith. The Bible also tells us that faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead on arrival. And a part of the scripture also says to us, show me your works and I'll show you your faith. Your faith is actually proven by the action that you take. When God said to Abraham to leave his father's house, Abraham became the father of faith because he got up. He took action on that word and he left his father's house. Even when, he was asked to sacrifice his only son, he didn't just keep saying, oh, I'm faith. No, he got up with that son and decided to take action. So for me, really, the bridge between dreaming and manifestation is the action that you're willing to take to make your dream life a reality. So post-COVID, and all the issues and all the challenges and the downtimes and the being low and the anxiety attacks and the heart palpitations and everything that would look like, God, what's going on here? I knew it was time to start again. I'll back up a little bit. So sometime in 2018, which was 3 years after starting up the factory, and that was 4 years ago, I believe that I had this God conversation around me moving out of Abuja to Lagos. Now, even though part of that decision was a strategic decision based on data, we had more stores that we were covering in Lagos. We had more customers in Lagos, Nigeria. If you're Nigerian, you would know where these places are, but if you're not Nigerian, so I used to live in Abuja in the northern part of the country, and we had retail outlets in Lagos in the southwestern part and another store in Port Harcourt in the southeastern part. So I shut down, of course, the Port Harcourt during the COVID because I couldn't even keep up with paying the rent and all of that. And then just left the Lagos, not because anything was happening. It was just there. We had shut down business for a year during the COVID. So at that time, 2018, I had that urge and that good conversation to move to Lagos. First, based on data. Secondly, because I just felt it was the right thing to do. After I came back from the UK, my 10 days turned 5 months sojourn, I tried to export to the UK. While there in the UK, I got in contact with an African store. We had an agreement, how to move product. I got my people back into production. We produced another, it was about 8 tons. And, we moved the product to the UK. You will think, oh my goodness, as in, another 20,000 pounds. That was the worth of the products. But the product got in, and it was the second lockdown in the UK. So we couldn't sell in the way that we thought we would sell. We were paying storage in the UK in pounds. It's like you go through one hurdle and you're saying, okay, I'm not going to give up. Strength in the inner man, I'm going to push towards the mark and towards the price. And then you hit another hurdle and it's like, okay, now what is this? And you just keep going, and these things are coming at you. And to be honest, the Bible also says there's no temptation that is happening to you. I'm paraphrasing. That is not common to man. There's nothing you're going through that is new under the face of the earth. People are going through different challenges in their own ways, and one person's own is not worse than another person's own. That's the way I just look at life. When people talk about entrepreneurship and being challenging, I say rather that life is challenging. I think life is challenging. That's what makes life fun. What makes life fun is saying, this is not going to knock me down. I'm going to, keep going. The Bible also said that the righteous falleth 7 times and they get up 7 times. That's the word of God. I'm trying to let us know that it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep you're going to keep falling. You're going to keep failing, but then again, keep failing forward. Learn your lessons and move on. So, of course, I needed to then raise money to start again. I had to sell the factory in Abuja for about 30% less of market price, just so that we could come up with something to start again. So I still paid part of the debts. It wasn't like, it's like you're not even scratching anything. I had also started my coaching and training business. I had signed up, students from across the globe. We had made $100,000 in the first 4 months. But my goodness, everything came to a halt. Everything stopped because of fear, shame, me feeling like a scam, really. And then just knowing, to be honest, was just a season of separation, of isolation, of, okay, Ijoma, this thing that you teach people how to gain the clarity and confidence to go from stuck to freedom and fulfillment. Ijoma, right now you are stuck. How about you get yourself out of it? Can you, this methodology, this thing that you're teaching, does it work? That was really where I was. It was like a second phase of proving my stuff and proving that I know what I'm saying and I know what I'm teaching, and that the results I'm helping other people get can be replicated time and time, over and over again. That is a proven methodology, Dream, Act and Manifest, which I had put into a business coaching program, Thrive. Thrive is a 3-in-1 coaching program. It's mindset coaching, it's identity coaching, then it's business coaching. Because for me, to be a powerful brand, you need to gain clarity, upgrade your confidence, and then have cash in your bank account. So at this time, I was clear, but my confidence level had, waned, and then I didn't have cash in my account. So how do you rebuild? Really, that was the phase where I was at. It's like life was saying to me, physician, heal thyself. And then, so I sold the property, paid some debts, knew that, okay, I needed to use this to start again, whatever little that I had. Cost, of course, was a very important, factor for me in finding factory space in Lagos. And so I live on the island, for those of us who are Nigerians and are familiar with Lagos. And I went to this place called Idimu. Like, I've never even heard of that place in my entire life. But it was any cheap space. Please just give me anywhere that I can afford to pay for. I'm ready to start over from the scratch, you know, I don't have a problem. Wealth creation, I believe and I know, is a mindset. It's not really about where you are, even though those play some role, but wealth creation is a mindset. And that was the mindset that I wore at that time, my wealth creation mindset. How do we do this? We went to Idimu, paid for a place, and I was ready to start. From where I live to Idimu, when there's no traffic, just so that you get what I'm trying to say, you're talking about some 90 minutes drive without traffic, right? And you can imagine when there's traffic, you're talking about, I don't know, but I was ready. And so as a Christian, you know, and I do trust God. I do believe in surrendering, you know, whatever it is. I trust God. There's no how else. I believe God. Because even my trust equation has been, you know, tested, you know, and in subsequent videos, we'll talk about all of those things. Like I said, for me, my content is aimed at, you know, it's mindset, it's faith, it's entrepreneurship. It's how do you create wealth through entrepreneurship? How do you come out of your comfort zone, see possibilities, and know that your dream really is very valid and that you can achieve it, you know? So I went on this particular day fasting. I went fasting to pray. I mean, it's not my property. I wanted to pray. I needed to just hand it over to God. And by the time I was done praying, I was meant to see the landlord the next day. Between you and I, believe me, the guy cancelled the appointment and said he was no longer leasing the place to me. How? Hold on, what's going on here? Wednesday, I was here praying. We had an appointment for Thursday. You had received my money, say Monday of that week. I had even gone ahead to pay for the artisans that would, you know, start to put the place in order. I had deployed funds. And then, you don't want to lease again? Could you repeat that? By Friday, I was at his lawyer's office wailing. It's like, what do I do? Of course, because I had sold the facility in Abuja, we needed to move. I had given the people, you know, a date to vacate the property. All things work together for my good, even if I don't see it, even if I don't understand it. Of course, as a human being, my first response is, you know, it could be anything. It could be from a place of anger, it could be anything. It could be what's going on, you know, first. And then when I balance is, what's the big deal? All things are working together for my favor. Lord, even though I don't know what this is about, I'm grateful, right? I just switched to gratitude. Then I flew back to Abuja in that period to, you know, close down the business very neatly and let go of the employees and all that, and just tidy things up. So now I'm desperate. I asked the agents. Of course, I lost money with the agent. The landlord returned his own part of the money. The agents, the property agents, you know, that was gone. You can imagine. So losses in the middle of losses. So I was so desperate. I told them, I said, find me anywhere. Let me pay anywhere. So they found somewhere, sent me videos or pictures. I couldn't even be bothered. I was away. Just, you guys give me whatever documents I'm signing, let me make this payment. I paid, came back from Abuja, went to the place, and it was like a pigsty. No, a pigsty sounds nice. I don't know, but there was something, you know. So I would always ask people, how do you feel? You know, like when you're doing something, even with my videographer, Michael, like when we're done with an episode, I'm like, how do you feel? You that you're behind the camera. There's something about how you feel that tells you, really, truly, you know, when they say, listen to your guts, how do you feel? Your feelings speak to you. Your feelings, your emotions. I'm not talking about the ephemeral ones, you know, but how do you feel when you step into an environment? Is it giving you negative vibes? All that we'll discuss in some other videos when we're talking about energy and humans and all that. But when I got to this place, I'm like, Ijeoma, you just must be crazy. No, right now it's not about being a mad woman. You are really insane. for you to think that you're going to be doing a 2 hours drive on this very bad road to this place that leads to nowhere for all I care. And this is not me dissing the people in that area, but it's just was my reality. And I said to them, so this time it was me saying, no, I'm not taking this property. Whatever it is, I'm not coming this far. I've had it up to here. Like, how low can low be? You know, and don't forget that we're still in debt as a business. Everything is going on, and local parlance, in the way that we say it, I was being dragged on the streets of social media. You know, my goodness, it was. But then in the midst of all of it, it's like when you have to keep going in the storm. You just have to keep going in the eye of the storm. So at this point, I said, no, I'm not doing this. Let me get a refund. I still lost money with the property agents, but then I got money back from the landlord. The agent, so someone introduced me to someone else who is also into property. And I was now looking in a different area. He was telling me about a particular place. And when he told me the lease cost, you know, I looked at him, I'm thinking, if only you know. I'm like, no, that's too expensive. How can I afford that? Like how? I didn't see myself in this property. I said, no, I'm not interested. So one day we went to somewhere else where I thought the price, you know, the lease cost was okay and affordable. They said, oh, they just took this place this morning. I'm like, no problem. At this time, we were just a couple of days away from the date, the takeover date with the buyers. So this property agent said, Ma, the place I've been telling you about is 5 minutes away. Let's go see it. Okay, there's no harm in trying. Let's go see it. Since you say it's 5 minutes away, literally like, you know, 2 streets away. We got to this place that is dilapidated, that hadn't been used in, say, 10 years. We got there. As they opened the gate to this building that had fallen walls, it was dirty, unused, unkept. The compound had, it wasn't just weed, literally almost like a forest. All I said was, this is it. I don't know what it was, but that thing, the Bible says, a disclaimer right there again, I'm not a pastor. The Bible says there is a spirit in man, you know, that connects us with the Holy Spirit. This is somewhere in the book of Job, and I'm paraphrasing because when I read the scripture, I'm not reading to quote, I'm reading to understand and use, you know, for myself, not to quote word for word and line for line. It would be beautiful if I could do that. And then, but you know, the Bible talks about there's a spirit in man that connects us with the Holy Spirit, you know, and then that connection ministers to us in our inner man. I got there and I just said, this is it. Let's go and see the owners of the place and let's have this conversation. We had the conversation, agreed on price, agreed on lease, everything. And so there's a pattern of risk taking. There's a pattern of just going even when I don't see the end. I just know that this is what I want to do and I take the first step. So the same way that the container, you know, the 20-foot container, reefer container that was going off to Houston was already at the port before I flew to Houston to get a buyer. This time, the trucks carrying the equipment and everything from our factory in Abuja was already on the road. And I didn't have where they were going to go to. But I knew that I was going to seal the deal on this particular property. So that was the address I gave to them to keep coming. And I did not have possession of the property. But before they entered Lagos, I had paid for the place, secured the property, and they came in, literally. So they put in everything in this facility and I locked it up because I paid for the facility with everything that I had. There was nowhere else to get extra from, but at least step 1 done. Can we then heave a sigh of relief and just exhale while we think of the next thing to do? So I locked up the facility and I just went away, just went home, but there was nothing. What else? So that whole facility conversation was actually around this time, 2020, the COVID year. and everybody was just trying to come out of COVID. So by January 2021, I had tried to go back online, to teach, to speak in the way that I would. So I had this program on Instagram that I would call Midnight Walk with God. I did it every year. Well, I had done it, a few years, maybe 2-3 years, for 21 days. And so I thought, you know what, Lord, I'm going to go back in. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to just do it. By the 5th day, no way. The anxiety, the darkness of that season, I couldn't. It's like, who are you deceiving? Why are you deceiving people? So you're talking about God. Yes, I believe in God. Yes, I believed everything I was saying. I was talking to people about arise, come out of the dungeon. That's Isaiah chapter 60, from verse 1 and all of that. And I believed everything that I was saying. But I just didn't feel like I was qualified, to talk to people in that season of my life. And by the 5th day, I think I shut it down. I'm like, no, I can't do this, because I fell ill. It was too much because I was going against the grain, so I did shut it down. And it's like, God, what next? But I remember, so one of my colleagues from my Lagos Business School days, his name is Abayomi, and I told him, I said, the story of my life in the second phase can never be told without you. Because I started this business, 2 Kings chapter 4 verse 2. That's where I got the word from. But then in the rebuilding phase, the word that I got was from Abayomi. And Yomi, I went to see Yomi that day. I just threw on, Bubu, and I just went. So Bubu is, like a very free clothing. And I just went to Yomi and I said, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And he's a Christian as well. And I'm not saying that you can get advice from someone who's not a Christian. No, but I'm just saying I needed to speak with Yomi, because also Yomi had given me some money. In the midst of our conversation, Yomi then said to me, Ijeoma, you know how you started years ago? Go back to the very beginning. Now, something I used to say very often, for every time I was speaking, teaching, ministering, whatever you want to call it, is go back to the place of the last instruction. That's what I used to say, because I'm of the opinion that instruction hasn't changed. Just go back to the very beginning. Yeah, the processes may be different, but the instruction from God hasn't changed. And that's what Yomi said to me. Yomi said, go back to the very beginning. So I left Yomi that day and I said, Ijeoma, how did you begin this business? I began with what I had in my hand from 2 Kings 4 verse 2, Amplified Version. What do you have in your hands of sale value? Which, you can just say what you have that you can sell. What skill sets do you have that you can sell? What passions do you have that you can sell? What purpose can you sell? Like, what can you sell? And all I needed to start the business again was light and water, really. Because I had equipment, of course, raw material would have to come. Don't forget that this place had been run down, hasn't been used, so there was no light, no water, nothing. It was just bare as bare can be. And this place was about 2.5 times the size of where we were coming from. So it was way bigger, but I just saw something. I felt that it could house this dream, to put the product in a million hands. Really, I don't know, but I just felt it and I knew that this was it. So on this day, January 15th, 2021, I had 15,000 naira, which is, as at today's value of the dollar, I don't know what that is, like 10, no, just less than $20, maybe about 15-ish. What? Is that what it is? My goodness, I can't believe that. So by today's, parallel market rate, we're talking about less than $20. That sounds interesting. Anyway, so I went back there and I still had one staff from the Lagos office who was still with me. So I went there and I asked the caretaker of this property to introduce me to an electrician and a plumber. They came there, gave me the bill of quantity. I needed to dig a borehole. I needed to provide my own water. So if you're not in Nigeria, you may not understand what I'm talking about. But if you're in Nigeria, I had to provide my own water. Literally, that's what I'm trying to say. I had generator for lights, so I needed, so it was about what do I have right now that I can start with. So I had the generator from my existing, or the business. It was about servicing the generator, getting water supply, and then finding a way to start. So I got back home, they gave me the quote. I called my sister and I said, please, I need XYZ amount. Do you have, can you bill me out? I'll give you back so time. And she did. So I asked herself and another friend, because I didn't know who would have, but thank God both of them had. So both of them gave me. It meant that it was more than what I needed, for the plumber and the electrician, and that was it. And all I was thinking at that time, my dream at that time was, Ijeoma, how do you sell one tub again? I had to go back to the very beginning. How do you sell one tub again? That was all I went to do. Really, like when the scripture says, despise not the day of little beginnings. When we talk about dream big and start small. So yes, my dream of 1 million people holding my product was still very valid. The profitable business was still very valid, but I had to go back to the very beginning and start small. And every day, I would call the bricklayer. Okay, let's put one coach of block. We'll put one coach, but maybe what we bought would take us up to 2 coaches. Every day for 3 months, I did this. I would leave home every day at 6 a.m. between myself and my driver just to get to the site, 7 a.m. One day at a time, really. That's all I had learned in this season, one day at a time. So today we'll put 1 block, tomorrow we'll do this, tomorrow we'll realize I just wanted to set up a small room so that I could sell 1 tub again. But somehow, really, we extended. We extended the renovation that we were doing. Now, back up to 2019, part of the debt that we took on, we had bought a dryer to take our product out of the cold supply chain and all the challenges, that came with it into a powdered product. But the equipment couldn't fit into our existing facility back then, which was some miscommunication between the supplier and our architect in terms of the size. So for 16 months, we had taken on debt to purchase this equipment. Interest was accruing and all that, but we hadn't set up this equipment. We were using this equipment, everything, but when we extended this renovation, I then called the suppliers. I said, I think I have space where we can set up this equipment. And they came. Part of the setup, and of course, because the equipment had been paid for 16 months earlier, installation had been paid for, everything. I didn't need money for them to do any of these. All I needed was to pay them logistics costs to bring it from their warehouse to our new facility. And part of what they needed for installation was that we were going to have to test the equipment, right? Back to the very beginning of how I had gone to the market. If you watched the first or second video, not too sure about that right now, and had bought 2 kilograms of corn and started from home, it was exactly the same thing. So I asked them what quantity of grains we needed to test this equipment. They said we needed, I think it was about 400 kg. No problem. Went to the market. It wasn't so expensive. It was just about 100,000 naira. And 100,000 naira today is sad, but that's just about $100 and a little bit. I just hope that post-production, and by the time you see this video, that all of this would have come down. But sad that what I spent, was just about $100 in today's exchange rate. So we put the equipment that we had together, processed it, they set up the dryer, and we dried this equipment, or we dried the product. And there in my hands, was something that I had wanted to do for years. but couldn't happen, and I was holding it in my hands, and that's what you see right here. That's why I had to put it, you know, on set. Yeah, it was the powder product that we had. Out of excitement, and while all of this was going on, I'm thinking to myself, but we don't have packaging material. We don't have packaging material for the product, for the powder product, because everything we had, you know, was for the paste product in the way that we want. It was, of course, we had purchased packaging material, tied down that money, and then all of this COVID thing happened. So we had this packaging material, but it wasn't for the powder product. I called our packaging material supplier to say, listen, I have a bit of a challenge. I don't know how to pack this product. And she said, what are you talking about? What you're saying is that you need exactly the same pouch, just that the difference is powder and paste. So what had then happened was, if you can see, so this is a sticker. I'm yanking off this sticker. So underneath the sticker, you will see that what you have is mixed grains paste with ginger. What we had to do was to create stickers where we then put mixed grains paste with mixed grains powder with ginger and covered it up. So at the back also, because it was paste product, we had an instruction that it should be refrigerated. We just had a clear sticker and we put it there. That was it. So this thing that was sitting there, the packaging materials, was what we started with. So we had all of these things and we found a way to start. So out of excitement, I was the very first customer. I bought 2 packs like this, exactly, really. 2 packs like this, that was what I bought. And I went off for a meeting. I went to say to, you know, a friend, and that this is that thing I've been telling you about. That this is what I can do with PAP. You know, like the possibilities are limitless, you know, and all that. And I got to this meeting, and this friend says to me, so how much is it? Luckily for me, in the maybe like a month or the few weeks prior to this time, I'm doing price calculation, I'm doing costing. So at this time, I'm an accountant. I went from having, you know, heads of departments to I was an accountant, I was head of production, I was head of sales, I was head of customer service. I was everything in one. It was like, how did you start at the very beginning? You know, so I had tried to do a bit of the costing to have an idea of, you know, how much would sell the product. So I got to this meeting and this person is saying, so how much is it? I said, this is the price, but there's also the price for the stores, retailers. And he says, how much order would make me a retailer so you give me that wholesale price? I said ₦1 million worth. He said, so I'm ordering ₦1 million worth of product. So ₦1 million worth of product, going by today's rate again, is just a little over $1,000. I'm thinking, you have to be joking, because it's not a store. What are you going to do with the product? You know, what are you talking about, really? I didn't have staff yet. I was just testing equipment, and I was just showing. I guess that's when you say preparation meets opportunity is what people would call luck. You know, but I'm trying to say to him, I don't have staff. I don't know how I'm going to produce, I mean, the quantity that you need and all that. And at this point, I must say that something that has worked before would work again. You may just need to tweak it. But, you know, what have you done before that has worked? What have you seen someone else do before? I told you at the beginning, I started this business, you know, imagining that I'm that woman who doesn't even know that I exist. You know, I'm that woman who was supplying my sister and her family to other working moms. So all I did was take something that had worked before and tweak it. And what was it? During Ramadan, which is a Muslim fasting period, the years prior, I had, you know, put together like a proposal to some people that we could, you know, some top Muslim people that they could buy our product and use it as Ramadan gifts to, you know, and that worked. That worked for us at the time. So this period also was around Ramadan, and I thought, this would work. And so that was actually what I was selling to this friend, that, the whole Ramadan thing. But I was just telling it as a story and just talking. And then that's how he ordered $1 million worth of product. But I didn't have staff. What was I going to do? And I was trying to dissuade him from, no, I can't. Like, I'm not ready. He said, well, I need the product. Don't forget, I still didn't have capital for the business, even the renovation. Honestly, I had even said to my children, you weren't going to go to school this term. Whatever I needed to do to start this business again is what it would be. You're not going to die by not going to school for one term, but I'm going to have to restart this business. But somehow they eventually went to school in that term. My network came through for me. Really, that's the truth. My network came through for me because I don't know how. Like, when they say, if not for God who was on our side. So even though, yes, I was disappointed, not at God, but at the fact that this whole debt repayment and this whole shame, public shame, was taking too long, but things were still happening, for which I was extremely grateful. So it was, 100,000 there, 200 here, 1 million here. It was just, just like that. That was it. And that's how I was doing the renovation every day. One day, something would happen. I would put the money together, everything, I remember one of my mentees, also calling me and giving me some money and saying, I'm sowing this as seed. I called some of my Lagos Business School colleagues. I asked them for debt financing. So I'm in debt too, but I need to get this going. That's how much I believe in the dream. Motivated to dream, ambitious to set mad goals, and then driven to achieve my dreams. Mad woman. So I was still mad, even though mellowly mad, if there's a word like that, not aggressively mad in this phase. But that really began the journey to rebuilding. And I had to ask for payment upfront so that we could even buy the grains to use to process. Interestingly, maybe a few weeks back, some people had come to say they needed a job or needed employment, and I said, come back 1st of April. I was too sure that all I needed was 3 months to put the place together. And I remember telling someone, a big sister of mine, that I'm looking to finishing this project by end of March, because this was January till March. And really, by experience, she said to me, but it's not possible. And at least give it 6 months. Those were her words. And I just said to God, 6 months, I'll be dead. It's not possible. However this would happen. And in record time, in 3 months, I got the area that I wanted to get. I didn't do the entire renovation, but just the area that could at least get us to start selling one tub, as it were, get going. So I had asked them to come back 1st of April, and they did come back. The ones who came was my driver. Everybody was like, we have to learn how to operate these machines, and all that. And we churned it out. So from his payment, his advance payment, we bought the grains. And while I was at it, I'm thinking, okay, looks like business has started. I guess the same way that we started at the very beginning with BlackBerry messages, I replicated the same thing with WhatsApp this time. I would put it on my status, buy pap for Ramadan, all that, gift people Ramadan. I was just putting that on my WhatsApp status. I would do like a broadcast message, sharing about the powder pap and all of that, And that was it. The others were coming in, and I made them know that, listen, your payment guarantees your order. It was 80% of your payment is what guaranteed your order. So I was using their 80% to buy the grains for the production. And then one day, almost towards the end of Ramadan, I then reached out to an organization whom I had access to, the MD. And I said, this is what I'm thinking. You can do this for your Muslim customers. We can brand the product for you. We had done it before. I sent, the ones we did with the frozen product. And then she calls me and she says, Wanya Kamu. So I think maybe, because I couldn't even imagine us doing something so big. So I said to her, I think I said we could do, say 300 boxes. And then she calls me. She says, Wanya Kamu, if I do 300 boxes, how many of my customers would I give and how many will I not give? Can you do 1,000 boxes? I'm like, yes, ma. That's all I said. And I went off the phone. This was 2 weeks to the end of Ramadan. I just had very little production team. I don't know, but that madness, as it were, that fire, you know, to make it happen, was rekindled. Everything. I got people, contract workers. We were working night shifts, everything. However, just to deliver, you know, on this mandate. Of course, you know, they had also paid their own advance. In trying to save money and make the whole transaction more profitable, I tried to buy grains, you know, up north. One of my former staff, you know, who apparently was up north, had said he could help, and I sent it was over $1 million, I think, for grains. My goodness, by the time these grains came, it was not our quality of grains. We couldn't use it. So we had processed it, dried it, but it wasn't high quality. The product wasn't excellent, and I couldn't put my stamp on it that this is a Bubes Foods product. And we had to trash everything. We had to trash that entire, you know, batch of product. We were working Sundays. There were days I would leave factory at 11 p.m. I can't forget this one day. I was there till 2 a.m. And I live an hour away from the factory. You know, but just anything to make this work. And within that season, we did about, the revenue we generated was about 6 times that of our single best year. I'll say that again. Within that season, within that Ramadan season, we had done about 6 times of our single best year prior to all of the COVID challenges. So I had changed the business model. So even though people weren't seeing the product in the stores, I had changed our business model to what is it that's going to put cash on the table right now. And that was it. We kind of were back in business. This was 2021. But then, don't forget that renovation had happened, everything had happened. We weren't exactly as stable, but we had at least, you know, gone out there again. Export happened again. So product was sent to the US, to the UK, to Australia. And because of our previous experiences with export and with our buyers in the US, we were able, and also because of the experiential marketing in video 2, find the playlist, you know, and this playlist will be my entrepreneurial journey. Binge on the videos if you want to, if you wish, and get, you know, inspired on your own journey. So that experiential marketing that I had done prior when the export had gone our way, you know, then paid off. Because at this time, the buyer who knew the quality of our product, wanted the product, and it wasn't going to be my export, I was able to, you know, ask for advance payment for every of our production. We had advance payment. So I wasn't looking for money to produce, and that was it. And that was how all of that happened, even for the UK shipments and all that. So the things that we had done before then started to speak for us. Our excellent product started to speak for us. Our product integrity started to speak for us. And that was it. And we're back in business. But things weren't as you know, they weren't going as fast, of course, because we didn't have working capital. We just had enough to produce for all these our customers, but it doesn't mean it was as profitable to, you know, keep running the business. Fast forward to February 2022. It was diesel price jumping up, everything, you know, but as always, I remember this day, you know, when I got the news of the price, you know, diesel price increase. I'm thinking, okay, now, this is it. It's like you try to make progress and then something comes. But, you know, the attitude of gratitude, you know, through it all. I remember not going to work for one day and just laying in bed, and I'm thinking, what next? How do I survive this? But the miracle that came out of that season for me was I then had the boldness to increase my prices and not think about how was I going to go about it. It was visible. It was clear to anybody that if you wanted to remain in business, if I wanted to be in business, the prices had to go up. So the diesel increase became a blessing for me, because something that I had been delaying to do, I then had no option but to do it. And so all of that happened, and we just kept going. But 2 months into this conversation, I remembered that February 2020, before all of the hassles and just before the whole COVID thing really hit, God had said to me, and one of the questions I always get is, how do you know when God is speaking? I guess that if you relate with him a bit more, you would know how he speaks to me, how he speaks to you. But he did tell me, and he said to me, cash flow is king, or cash flow is key. I woke up and I wrote it down in my journal, and I moved on, and I moved on. In hindsight, if I had listened to what he told me about cash flow is key, my second business, the coaching and training business, which was bringing in money, I could have continued doing what I was doing. Then all debts would have been cleared. But God gave me this instruction even before the whole challenge, but I didn't think that that was the answer. I didn't link it. I was too broken. I was so much in a dark place to see. I couldn't do anything. Fear crippled me. Shame crippled me. I couldn't do anything. But fast forward to April 2022, I remember that word clearly, that cash flow is key. And I knew that, listen, after this Ramadan season, cash flow is going to dry up again. And then what next? And that's when I started Bube's Water, which is what I have now. That's it. That's where the business came from. From that one instruction in February 2020, that cash flow is key. So Bube's Water is another product within Bube's Foods. It's not a standalone business, but just a second product from one instruction. So Bube's Pap started with what you have in your hands of sale value. And then Bube's Water started from cash flow is key. It wasn't in the Bible, but it was something that he told me, and I had written it down. And so from April 2022, I started to go at this thing, like, okay, let's put together a small space, one block at a time. I was too clear, it will shock you, that all I was trying to do was anything to share energy costs and reduce the cost of production for Bube's Pap. And I was too clear that if you guys gross 20,000 naira a day from this, my darling pure water, I'm going to pocket it and I'm out of here. That was my dream. My dream was, okay, finally, I'm going to have this business, that is putting money in my pocket every day. From April, I started the project for Bube's Water. There was no plan, like I said, there was no plan for any of these things. And we're testing the water. By the time we were done, the quality wasn't exactly the quality I wanted. And I asked, what's the next level of water treatment? Because for me, it's all about high quality water. Everything we do is about excellence. And they said to me, the next level of water treatment is the one that would give you the dispenser bottles and the bottled water. And I said, listen, just give me that treatment plant. I need it. Because if I'm going to put my name on this thing, it has to be it. It has to be it. And so you can imagine, from that simple instruction of cash flow is key, and that, birthing this idea of Bube's Water, and this was all it was going to be, nothing big. There was no plans to buy any truck. It was just 20,000 naira a day kind of thing, and I put it in my pocket and I walk away. I was just looking for anything that would put money in my pocket daily. But because, of course, we had bought this treatment plant that could give us, the best quality of water, as it were. And that's how this came on board as well. And that business that I wanted to just give us 20,000 naira a day is generating 6 figures daily right now. And then it's growing. It's growing. In fact, last night, we had to do night production to meet up with demand for the water. Just from that single instruction, that cash flow is key. And it's water that I can drink. So, what I will be saying to you today is your dream is valid, and the challenges and failure is part of the journey. The Bible tells us clearly, and I had quoted that the righteous fails 7 times. And I can tell you that 7 times is just figure of speech. It's just figure of speech. It could be 100 times. But just make sure that you're failing forward and that you're making progress. Thank you so much for staying with me to the end of this video, for watching till the end. Make sure to like, subscribe, share to someone who you know needs to hear this, so that this message, that we can have it all really, that we can thrive beyond just living, will be spread. Thank you. See you in the next video.